I feel like that's not just intuitively going to be my first gut reaction. Quick, get the nun out of the nun. The gun out of the sink. I mean, maybe that would be a better.
Get that nun out of here.
Maybe actually that's a better way is for violence is to house a nun and just if someone tries to here's a nun, just to see what they nun. It's really freak them out. It's the shock factor. They wouldn't know what to do. They just be like, oh, who is this? And then
I'm sorry.
Just
start
praying.
Actually just
way
start
better
praying.
than owning a gun.
Way better.
Just own a nun.
Yeah.
Own a nun.
Own a nun
out,
who tells some puns.
Talk with them.
This is just a Dr. Seuss podcast.
I'm sorry, but like I'm envisioning this SNL skit that's like people like someone's trying to like go buy a gun and they're like, sorry, we don't sell guns, but we do sell nuns. It's just like it's like nun after nun after nun. It's like, which one do you want? You do need a license.
Kate
though.
McKinnon dressed up as a nun. That's really good.
I've been thinking about selling feet pics. I mean, if I
was
not
just
gonna
say
lie,
that.
I've been thinking about it. I've been praying about it. The Lord has not deterred me. So I'm
Only if
bringing
you
him into
tithe
the equation.
10% of your profit.
Oh, okay.
Maybe for that you'd have to
Feet
tithe
pics,
20.
I feel like that's at least
Okay.
15 or 20.
Why? Why more?
Because it's also kind of repentance.
Because it's not like a wholesome way. Like it just feels
Okay, I'm not
weird,
selling my body.
you know?
I'm just selling my toes.
That is your body.
Okay, I'm not selling like a sexual body part. Like I'm not being weird. I'm just selling. Here's
But
a little
Kiara,
cheeky toe.
That's why people are buying it.
I know.
You know?
But like I don't like to think
Yeah,
about that.
You know their intent.
You know the intent.
But they're worth.
Hey.
I mean, these toes.
Hey, yeah, you're on. The podcast? I don't know what she's doing. She's coming here in a sec. She said she's letting you guys live our lives. We're just talking about nuns and boats and guns and feet pics and
She's honestly
gonna be
missed a
the
lot.
title.
Wait, that should be the guns,
cheeky-
feet pics, and nuns. Oh my!
cheeky feet pics.
It is kind of an interesting like way to think about some things that are super nostalgic to you can be like not important to someone else. Like
Yeah. Like you care less about SpongeBob and Mare and I are like freaking out.
that's like your bonding
Yeah.
thing, and I'm like, I don't know. I know that he lives under the sea, and the porous is he.
Yeah, that's right. Good job.
I honestly
That was
maybe
funny.
like if like okay, this is like dramatic. Okay, I'm just gonna say it that. But gun to my head, I could maybe do the whole SpongeBob theme song. Maybe,
That was dramatic.
maybe, but there's no
Hey, we'll be your backup, Mare. We'll be your backup.
who lives in a pineapple under the sea.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Something and porous is he.
Yeah, you just said you could do every
Okay.
word, and that wasn't
Yeah, you
it.
did
Stage
it.
fright.
That was literally the second
Okay,
line.
that's stage fright. I don't
Absorbent
know.
in yellow.
Absorbent in yellow and porous.
porous
is
Absorbent in
he.
yellow and porous as he.
SpongeBob
SpongeBob
SquarePants.
SquarePants.
His
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tap out. Okay, you
No,
go.
cool nonsense.
my
Be
gosh.
something you wish.
gun to your head. You're
Yeah, I'm
dead.
dead. I'm dead now. Yeah,
And
I'm
put up
dead.
on the deck and flop like a
Flop
fish.
like a fish.
I'm gonna ask Colton. Is this a red flag of mine? Because what I've learned recently, a red flag of mine, is how I've been doing the alphabet game on car trips. I've just recently, in the last month, it's come to my attention that maybe my parents taught me a different way to just like shut me up in the car. And I like swore by this way. And Colton and also my sister-in-law both recently were like, that's not how you play it. I'm like, no, you guys are in the
Okay,
wrong.
So then how do you play
So
it?
in my mind,
What are your rules?
okay, so I'm going to tell you how I was taught was to play it up in your head, to not shout out the letters, is just to go through the alphabet in order in your head, and then when you're done, you yell done, because you don't want someone to know where you're at, because that's like the fun of the game, is to not fully tell someone where you're at.
Your
and
parents
that
just wanted you to be quiet.
I think so too, but I brought it up to them, and they're like, "No, that's how we learned how to play it." I was like, "So it's a generational thing."
Oh my
So it's
gosh.
really no thanks to my grandparents. The reason,
But that no way both your parents
both of
were
them
raised doing it that way.
that's what they said.
Wow.
That's what they said, both of them, and they're like, "Well, that's how we were taught, so that's just how we played it." And
But then how do you like compete with each
What?
other if you like
Yeah,
just
and
doesn't
how
even
can you
make sense.
how can you make sure what they saw was valid?
well, here's the thing.
because if someone finds the Z,
Good point. Well, Z, when you're
So you
done,
could
you
cheat.
like the last one. That's kind of like what you say, but. I mean, the only thing is, like, I did cheat a lot because I would just like, Q.
Yeah,
Who
exactly.
knows where Q is?
yeah,
And I would just skip over
Totally.
Q.
Well, I can't find it. I'm just gonna come back to it.
No,
Pass.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm very humbled.
Wow.
I'm very
Kiara,
humbled
I'm
this year
sorry.
to know that my life has been a lie when it has come to the alphabet game.
Hey, it's Casey,
I'm Meredith.
And this is Kiara.
and we're 3 best friends in a long distance relationship.
We've learned some valuable lessons along the way over the last 10 years of being friends.
Now let's get to it because Hi guys. Welcome back.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to the It's Been Forever podcast. I'm Meredith.
I'm Casey.
And I'm Kiara.
This is the first episode that we're recording since
Yeah.
we've started releasing episodes. So today is August 9.
We actually put a pin in our friendship for 2 months.
basically
we really
We
want to
said-
be It's Been Forever. So just like
we
wait.
said no talking. Yeah.
Wait till
So we
August.
have a lot to catch up on tonight.
I need to know, Mare, how's your homeowner life been so far?
Oh my
Give
gosh.
us the details. Give us the details.
Oh yeah, since we've been gone, Mare bought a house.
Mare
Yeah.
literally, her and her husband living in Iowa bought a house. So tell us everything.
So this summer's been wild. There's been so many changes this summer. I got a new job. I started my
Yeah.
new job in June. And then we bought a house. It was a house that we had been like eyeing for a while. It actually was right across the street from where we lived. We lived in like a little condo. And it was by like word of mouth that we heard about this place. Like we're friends with the neighbor, and she was like, "Oh yeah, my neighbor's working on this house, but he's like sick of it. He's tired of fixing it up. But like the whole first floor is done. The basement isn't finished, but so far it's like 2 bed, 1 bath, like just what we need, you know." And so we reached out to this guy and we made him an offer and he accepted it. And so it's like it's our dream house for what we want right now. Like it's exactly what we were looking for, something that we could move into, that's move-in ready, but that we could kind of still like fix up and make our own. So yeah, we moved in July, like July 10 was our closing date. So now we've been in for tomorrow I guess will be a month. So it's starting to feel a lot more homey. Like we're ripping out the landscape and redoing all that
gosh.
stuff right now. So
Does that feel nice that you have like ownership of it and you're not just like renting whatever? So it's like yours. You can do
Yeah,
whatever
totally.
you want with it.
And I'm so thankful to be married to someone who like literally does this stuff for a living. Like he knows how to rip out rock and he can get like tools from work instead of just like using shovels, like me and him like trying to figure out what to do. Or like we did an accent wall in the kitchen and he was like, it was so easy for him. Like, oh, this is just what you do. Like you don't have to look up a video or any type of whatever. He just knows exactly what to do. It's really nice and it saves a lot of money.
That's really nice.
So yeah. And then I don't know if I've told you guys this even, but he got a new job.
Oh, no.
yeah, that's awesome.
So he's gonna work at some like electrical place it's like in Sioux Center, but they like put in electric for like big companies, and he's gonna be the name is so weird. It's a virtual design construction technician. So like he'll
Kinda
learn
sounds
like
sick.
yeah, he'll learn like this 3D software, and like if he wanted to, he could do it from home. Like he'll like design where the like conduit goes in the buildings that they're gonna build.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, So that he starts that next week. So we 2 new jobs and a new house. And yeah, it's wild. And we're looking for a dog. So
Wow.
it's kind of a lot of change. I felt a little anxious this summer, I'm not going to lie. It's all good change. Like it's a good anxious.
You do
that's
well
like,
with
oh.
change, huh? I mean, that's like a lot of life change in like a short amount of time.
Like kind of what we've talked about before of like it's
Yeah.
scary but it's good. Just because it's scary doesn't mean it's bad. Like this is all good stuff. So yeah, lots of change. How have
That's
you guys
awesome.
this summer's been?
For me, this summer has been really busy in a good way. I have really packed it all in terms of trips and concerts and all of the things. I mean, that's just typical me, but I think like this month, especially in August, I'm really trying to focus on just like resetting myself and regrounding myself. I mean, my bank account is, kind of hurting from some of the trips, and recently my car wouldn't start and had to, take it to the shop. Literally had to tow it to the shop. And that was a couple grand.
What?
So I cried.
How far did it have to be
cried.
towed?
It was
No.
I mean,
I bet-
not that far, but it was
Oh my
just
gosh.
thing after
Yeah.
thing, ended up being like
Shoot.
2,500
Mm.
money that I was like, I would rather put that into something
Yeah.
else, but I need a working vehicle. I mean, besides that, I've had some fun things with my work. I was able to go to New York City in July for what we call a church pop-up. Essentially the church that I work for is pretty global, but we do pop-up church in different cities where we have a lot of like a big online presence. So I was able to go to New York and help with that team, and that was just really a highlight of my last couple weeks. That was like mid-July, so I guess a couple weeks ago. I mean, it was a less than 24-hour trip,
Oh,
so
wow.
it
It
was
was quick.
It was short, but it was quick. But it was one of those things where I'm like, this is just why I'm just grateful to do what I do, because it was like a wake up at 4 kind of thing, and then after the day we're gonna hop
Wow.
on a plane and come back to Charlotte. But like, we made church happen so that people could experience Jesus in New York City. So
That's
it was
cool.
really cool to see that. But so that was a highlight. Obviously, car thing was a low
Totally.
light of the last couple weeks, but really in August, I was just telling my friends, I was like, I'm like, if something pops up, just like allow me to say no, because I just really feel like kind of off kilter a little bit. I just feel like I've been going a lot, and a lot of fun celebrations like birthdays and anniversaries and fun special events for people in my life. But I'm like, I'm kind of exhausted now, and I'm like, I need a reset before like the fall, because I normally the fall is where I like teeter off in like mental health and like different things. So I'm like, I need to reset before I like go into full force in the fall. So but this week has honestly been really good. I got back from a trip with some friends for a birthday in Hilton Head. My first time there, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I was like, I want to come back. So that was just like a fun weekend. Honestly, it was pretty chill. It wasn't like we had like a lot planned. So it was like one of those where we just kind of like beached, and that's about it. But now that I'm back home in Charlotte, I'm like, I wanna chill. So
When I think of Hilton Head,
yeah,
I've been rewatching Pretty Little Liars, and it is an amazing show to rewatch because there are so many like little plot lines that you forget about, and like even now I'm thinking back, I'm like, wait, what happened with this person? What did they end up actually being responsible for? Like, what did they do? But it's a great show to rewatch. But Allie, before she disappeared, she went to Hilton Head with Ian. Yes.
Really?
Ooh.
Melissa's boyfriend,
I don't remember that.
who
The British dude?
no, the one that died in the bell tower at the end of season 1.
Oh.
The one
Like,
who that
I
actor
need
was
to
on Smart
rewatch that.
House in Disney Channel.
Oh,
That
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know who you
Oh,
mean.
yeah.
Yes. So anyways, I didn't know Hilton Head was a real place. So when I saw you like tag a story there, I was like, oh my gosh, Allie's probably there.
Wait, that's actually wild. You know, I kind of wondered why
That's
it felt
it.
familiar, and maybe it was my
Got a
subconscious.
secret.
Mm-hmm. I was like, this is the
Wow.
lighthouse.
This is the
I don't know.
lighthouse.
This is actually I'm in the lighthouse. That is actually really funny. That reminds me, and this is like a super side note, but that's just how my brain works. I was wearing like all black and like some lipstick, and my roommate was like, "You kind of are like Pretty Little Liars esque," and I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
"Got a secret? Can you keep it?" And it just like came.
How
It
Guys, that
came
show
to
is
the
just
front of my
so
mind. I was like,
good.
I
it's so good.
feel like Pretty
it's
Little
so
Liars.
good. Every like twist
It's
and
so
turn, you're like,
good.
It's
you
also
know?
like so
It's
bad
amazing.
that it's good.
I think
You
I'm
know what
gonna
I mean?
rewatch.
Like,
Yeah, right. Like especially in the first couple seasons, that
100%.
they'll have things. It's like, if you need a friend, you should get on Facebook. Like that's like what the burns are like. And I'm like, oh, Hannah.
so cringe.
Like,
Oh,
it's just so funny, so
no.
cringe. It makes me want to go back and I want to rewatch Secret Life of the American Teenager.
Oh, I don't know if I
For
could
cringe
physically
sake.
put myself through that.
Oh, that's another good one.
I'll see some scenes. Like
Yes.
people would put scenes, on TikTok or on Reels and be like, "Who let this be published?"
Yes.
And they're so bad.
Yes, so bad. There's like a part where Sean Johnson does a scene with like one of the main guys.
Yes.
It is repulsive. It's
And
so
he does
hard
like
to
this
watch.
weird
Oh, I
like
don't
break
know that.
dance thing.
And he does a cartwheel.
Yeah,
He does a
bad.
cartwheel away from Sean Johnson,
Yes,
the
that's what it
Olympic
is.
gold medalist. And it's the worst cartwheel ever. Like it's
It's
like
bad.
how embarrassing.
Have you seen? There's a video of Sean Johnson watching that.
Yes,
Like her husband's
I
like,
watched
"Hey,
it.
babe,
and
look
she,
what I'm watching."
As soon as she heard
Yes!
the first sound, she goes, "Oh, I can't.
Stop.
Like, please."
She like knew that it was
Yes.
bad.
Oh,
Oh,
She
so
knew what
funny.
was coming.
why do you have an attitude?
Super cute. Anyway, I'm done with my little.
Oh, good.
Party,
well, that
in
was
case
what a
you
fun
go.
coincidence. That's hilarious. I would say my summer has been pretty similar to yours, Kiara. I would say in July I've been like going from place to place. But the other fun part of it is I've seen almost like 90% of my family, which is really exciting. At least like my own like siblings and nieces and nephews and stuff, which is a lot of fun. So for Bryce's family, we had a family wedding that was in Missouri. And so we were there and it was so hot. I forgot how hot the Midwest is
It
with the
looked
humidity.
gorgeous.
Oh, the venue was incredible, but when I tell you I've never been so hot in my life, like, oh my gosh. We were at the rehearsal dinner and the venue was outdoors, which was like they were one of the first people to have a wedding at that venue. So everything was just picturesque. It was gorgeous.
Wow.
But we're in this like enclosure at 2:30 in the afternoon in Missouri heat. It was 97 degrees, and that did not include
And
humidity.
it almost looked like a greenhouse.
It was
type
kind of like a
thing.
greenhouse vibe. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
and
it too.
I kind of felt like I was getting cooked alive, and I had sweat like dripping in every orifice of my body. And we were all like going through it, so it's not like I'm like the worst one there. I wasn't in the wedding,
Yeah.
but Bryce was.
Well, and I was looking at, and the groom's in like a suit. Like, there's no way you're
Mhm.
dry under that.
No.
No
And
way.
then they had these really big fans that were shooting out a mist, which was nice, but the mist was also getting hot from being outside. So it was kind of like hot air water on you. So it was like the
Yeah.
closer you got, the cooler it felt, but then the more soaked you got because you're standing in front of a fan that's pelting out water at you. So
And it's humid. It's not like it's dry.
exactly. So you're just kind of in your own wetness. I don't know. If you know, like if you've been in the Midwest and the
gross.
humidity, like you get it. It's just, it's an unlike any hotness.
Yeah, true.
And I forgot about it because we don't have any humidity in Oregon. And when you're out of it for so long,
Yeah.
it comes back with a vengeance. It's like we got off the plane and I'm like, I feel like I'm breathing in water. I don't know. It's crazy. But that was super fun. Got to see all of Bryce's family. Siblings, and then we have a little niece and she's super cute. The last time we saw her she was like a few months old, so it was really fun to see her like waddling. She's like not quite
cute,
walking
yeah.
at that time
Not
yet.
be like, wait, which sibling? But Yeah,
The only
Bryce's
one
Yeah.
with
sister.
a baby.
The only one. Yeah. Well, I was thinking your side for some reason, and I was like, aren't they all like 15 by now?
Yeah.
So
aren't they all like mature?
Yeah.
aren't they all like in college?
Yeah,
I was like, which one's
I
like a couple
know.
months?
I actually did. I saw a picture of like Cammie's kids, and I was like, "What the
I
heck?
know.
Isn't the youngest like 2 and have a broken leg and in a stroller?"
No, 100%.
That's like the last time I saw her. She had that little broken leg.
That was literally
gosh.
so long ago. Yeah.
What? She's probably like 7 or 8
Probably like
now.
middle school.
Yeah, 7 or 8.
Oh, okay,
I think
not
she's
middle
8.
school.
I
Not
think
middle
she's
school,
8.
but
No.
I think she's 8. But
that's wild.
yeah, so I saw
I guess
Bryce's
that makes- yeah,
family,
that-
and then my sister who lives in Iowa and my mom decided to make a last minute trip to Oregon. They drove out here. And it was super last second, which is kind of how my family rolls, but it was so much fun. And so the whole week we just did a bunch of stuff and hung out. And so
Cute.
they got here on they visited some of my family in Central Oregon, and then they came over to like the Salem area on Monday, and then they left Saturday morning. So pretty much all week I didn't go to bed before 1:30 a.m. You guys know how it is with my family. So we basically just like were awake for like hours for the whole week. And
Yeah.
there's like a million kids everywhere because my sister that lives in Oregon has 4 kids. My sister lives in Iowa has 4 kids. And so the house is just full and really busy, but it was so much fun. And my nieces and nephews are all so old. My oldest niece, Kalia, today is August 9th. Her birthday is August 12th. She's going to turn 19, and she just is at Heston for her second year.
Oh my gosh.
It's just crazy. So she's
Just
I know. So she's super old. And then my second oldest, or my first oldest nephew, he's about to be a freshman in high school. And he can drive. Like, he has a permit. Like, it's
no.
I,
What?
I don't know what's happening. Like, everyone's getting so old. It's so weird.
I'm not even in that family, and I feel old thinking about that.
And so
Well, we like saw them when they were little.
you know, and so
It's
and
wild.
then Lennox, he's about to turn 14, so he's going to be able to drive because in Iowa you can get your permit when you're 14. And, like, it's just it's all of this is just blowing my mind. And I don't like I saw them in October, like for Mare around your wedding. I saw them in October. We had like a whole family reunion and everything. And I swear from then until July, they had all grown. Like my nephew specifically in Iowa, they just grew so much, and they were like tall, and their voices dropped. So they literally like talk like little men.
Like sound like
and
men.
it's so
Yeah.
creepy. And they had we did like a little voice competition where the 3 of them had to line up, and I would close my eyes and I had to like guess who was talking, and they all would talk in like a deep, low voice.
No,
It was like-
that's
Did you
so
get any of them
funny.
right?
I got a few right, but it is actually like really tough. It's just why I don't know how they all grew up all of a sudden. And yeah.
Yeah.
And then I mean I have
Doesn't it suck being away from them?
it does, but then I also have my other that live here, so it's like I get that, but I can't. If I was there, I wouldn't get that and all that stuff. So
Totally.
but it just makes the times that we're together so much sweeter. So basically I was in Missouri, saw all of Bryce's family. Then that next week, basically I saw all my family. And then also within there, we went and visited some friends that live up near Seattle, which is at Northwestern. These are friends, Sean and Lexi. Hey, Lexi, I know you're an avid listener. She's gonna be like screaming right
Yes.
now. Hey,
Yes, Lexi, we love you.
So we went up there, and Bryce and I visited
Northwestern
them.
soccer forever.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
We went up there and visited them, and we literally had the time of our lives. And so it was a lot of fun to just kind of, reminisce, kind of like what we do, but like they are a completely different portion of our lives, just the Northwestern part. And then plus we had the added, like, Sean and Bryce ran track together. And so there was a lot of times that, we did things just kind of separate from the whole group. And Sean visited us last year, and then we were able to go up to them this summer, and we just had such a blast. And so I feel really fulfilled in terms of like people and family and all of that stuff. But like Kiara, you were saying, like it just takes a lot out of you when you go. I don't think we had been home for like the entire weekend of July. We were always doing something that took our attention away. So when we got to August and I'm like, oh my goodness, I haven't even like changed the calendar over yet. Like everything's just been super crazy and on the go. So not a bad thing. And I hate when people are like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. Like, you don't even get it. I'm busier than anyone who's ever existed in this entire planet. Like, that's not at all what I'm trying to do. We've been doing a lot of things and I've been loving it. And it's been really great. But it's also good to just like chill out and stuff. So I actually was homesick from work today and I'm okay. And you're not going to catch it. It's okay, everyone. But as I was laying in bed, I had the verse of the day come up and I really loved it.
Wait, are you a
I was just
Christian?
wondering if I could share it with you guys.
Do you love Jesus? Oh my gosh, me too.
I do. So I just thought it was really, really sweet. And I was really thankful for it this morning because sometimes when things are like not going your way, you get really like just like mad at everyone. And then everything, like your whole mindset is just kind of like a loser lame-o who just like hates everyone and doesn't like anything that's happening. So I really liked the verse because I just felt like it was really fitting for me. So whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, and whatever is admirable, essentially, let all of that be your thoughts. Don't worry about all the other stuff. Just always think about how you can glorify God with what you say and what you do. And obviously, we don't want to like pretend that everything is perfect because amidst all of the beautiful things that happen, there's a lot of other crappy things that happen. But I don't want to just be like, you know what? Jesus has me though, and I'm totally fine and everything's perfect. And I'm just going to smile my way through it because that's truly not it either. But keeping my thoughts not negative, especially towards myself as I make mistakes and do different things like that. Just thinking of how grateful I am to have family, how grateful I am to have friends, how grateful I am to just enjoy the sunshine because in Oregon, the sun goes away for a long time and just being really thankful, even though I'm like, I'm sweating. I'm like, no, this is awesome. Like, I can't believe I get to live here. I can't believe I get to see the sun. And so just that was kind of my mindset today as I was just kind of home chilling by myself, resetting. And so I'm hoping moving forward, I can just, just like what we were saying, Kiara, just go into a better mental state as I go into the next season. But I am really excited for fall because I'm like layers and just, I don't know. I love fall. I really do. I love summer, but I love fall. Yeah.
I love sweatshirt weather.
That's actually a really good segue into our topic that we want to kind of like dive into today, which is just going to talk a bit about like our goals for our next season of our lives. I mean, I think you really set us up with like talking about what you want to do for this next season, Casey, and like really where you want to fix your gaze. But I think it would just be cool if we each like talk a little bit about like what we want to do, what we want to accomplish in this next season of our lives as like the summer's kind of winding down. We're gearing up into the fall. And I actually was talking about this with my team today of like, when I hear the word discipline, like I personally, like I've never really thought of myself as a disciplined person. Like I think of someone who's disciplined as someone who's really like wakes up at 4 a.m., works out, reads their Bible, does everything before like 9 a.m. I'm like, that is a disciplined person because they do everything before they go to work. And I'm like, I roll out of bed 20 minutes before I have to leave and I throw in some clothes and I hope it's good. Like I'm just not the kind of person who does things in the morning. And I think that's what I equate to as a disciplined mind. But honestly, I've been thinking about like what I want to do this next season is not to push myself to limits that I'm like setting myself up for failure. But a goal that I have is to kind of like redefine what discipline means to me and like what is attainable, because for someone like me who I just am not a morning person in general, like I live with 3 girls and I'm like a zombie in the morning. I just want to like get my breakfast, get my coffee and leave the house and not talk to anyone. Like that's just how I am in the morning. But I'm like, I don't have to tie my disciplined nature to something that I don't accomplish in the first 30 minutes of the day.
Totally.
I want to set a goal, no matter what it is. If it's just to have a good conversation with a coworker before lunchtime, okay, I'm not maybe mentally there until 10 a.m. when I'm ready and I have my coffee and I'm, ready to have my day. Maybe that's the window that I need to work with. Like try not to push myself to where I'm like constantly being frustrated that I'm not achieving something because I set myself up for failure. And I don't know how else to like phrase it other than like I want to accomplish things in this next season of my life, but I think the boundaries that I'm going to put in place are to set me up for success and not for failure. So that's just something that I've been kind of thinking and like redefining like what that means for me, and not on the basis of someone else, and not looking at like someone else and comparing my life to theirs, but to say, what does being disciplined in my life in, I mean, just as an example, like as like eating, what does being disciplined in what I eat, what does that look like for me? That could look completely different from someone else, and that's okay. But set realistic goals for myself to accomplish what I want to do. So anyway, that's one of my goals.
Off of that, Kiara, no, I love that. I feel like I really resonate with that. Like even this morning, I think we're all kind of like recovering from the hustle culture. We've kind of talked about that before, but like this morning I was like, I'm just not feeling good. And I was like, maybe I'll do like a half day at work. And I'm not feeling good. I'm not in like the best, like just in the person that I need to be at my job. I would have been the worst person today to be at my job just with how I felt. And so the whole day I was trying to figure out how I could get to work and maybe like hit the second half of the day, but then all the while feeling guilty that I wasn't at my job and guilty that, I've put so much work into where I am. And for me to like miss a day is like not, utilizing everything that I don't know. I don't know if you just ever feel guilty for just not showing up or being somewhere when like, you should, but also, it's best for you to not be there. And so I totally resonate with what you just said, because there's times when you feel like you're doing everything you should be, but then if you decide to take one step of a break and like, then you're like totally behind. And then I feel really guilty. That's something that I fall into all the time.
Yeah, I think a lot of our frustration comes from like setting an expectation in ourselves, and then when we don't hit it, that's like when we really feel either insecure or anxious or frustrated, just because we're like, no one else is setting you up. Like you're the one that is dealing with everything in your mind. I mean, that's just been like a constant theme lately of like a lot of the battles that we face are truly just within ourselves. So we have to learn to like overcome the mental hurdle, or to say, I am frustrated with this. No one told me that I couldn't achieve it, but I told myself that I couldn't because I didn't even wake up with a good attitude. So how am I going to be nice to this person that I see every day? And now I feel like a failure because I didn't say hello, and like now they think of me as a bad person, and now I'm going to spiral. It's like it truly is like at least I feel like a lot of frustrations come from when we set our own expectations and then don't meet them. It's not because of someone else. It's truly because of
100%.
our own selves.
Like I'm letting myself down more than anybody else is letting me down.
Yeah. I think with not meeting goals, or like not, Kiara, like you use the word discipline, like not feeling discipline, the two things that I think of are, what is the impact of me not achieving this goal or of me doing this? Like what's the impact on me and what's the impact on other people? And then two, where does grace come in? And I think grace comes in with the reason for not attaining that goal or not doing that thing. And I think there's so much grace over like there's circumstances that are just out of our control. Like
no, I do get what you mean. And actually to that degree, I've actually been thinking a lot about that, of just we tend to not give ourselves a lot of grace, I feel like, because we hold ourselves and others to such a high standard that when we like let our own selves down, we like can't get out of it for some reason. But like when someone else like drops the ball, we're like, okay, that's fine, we can reschedule. But like when
Totally.
we are like, I am not okay, and I actually can't get out of bed right now, or I'm like just don't feel like it, like maybe that's just like one of the reasons, and that's okay. We feel like a failure because we're not showing up like for someone else because of something that like
Absolutely.
we can control. But when we can't do it, we don't give ourselves grace. And I honestly don't feel like there's an answer to that tension, because I haven't figured out yet. Or maybe if you have, let me
Mhm.
know, because I just think that when I let myself down, it is like I feel it a lot more than when someone else doesn't follow through. I'm like, that's okay. Like, sure, maybe in the moment it can be annoying, but like down the line, I'm not like going to hold a
Mhm.
grudge. But I feel like everyone else is holding a grudge against.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. I would say that, you know, kind of pondering the subject that we wanted to talk about today and what we want to accomplish in our future, I think as happy as I am for you, Mare, about buying your house, it can be really frustrating to like sit back and watch other people like reach these milestones that you've been working really, really hard for. And it is not in any sense of the word invalidating what anyone has been able to accomplish. Just
Totally.
Yeah.
putting that out there. Bryce and I recently found that Oregon is now one of the top 10 most expensive states to live in.
Gosh.
So we have, you know, chosen what we've chosen. And we're, you know, coming to a sad reality that renting might just be the next couple of years. And that's
Yeah.
just how that is. And as frustrating it is to see other people accomplish these things that you've wanted for a really long time and that you want to experience with your best friend, finding new things to be happy about and finding new things that you can be proud of and excited about is so necessary, so that you don't live in this state of just, well, they only got this because of that, or they only have that because they were able to do that. And I've also found like I've been really frustrated with people about, well, they only got this because their parents did this, or they were able to do that because their family has owned this. And it's like, honestly, good for them. Like, if my parents could provide the world for me, they would. But nor do I expect them to. But I just want to be happy for people. I want to be thankful that people got to experience their own little bit of like, this is what I've always wanted. And there's nothing wrong with people getting what they've worked hard for. And I think we've talked about revelations on this podcast before, but a revelation that I've had recently, and I haven't been telling you guys because I want to tell you here,
Ooh, tell us.
is that I know, here it is. It's here. If you want something, it's okay to like work really hard for it and pursue it and like be proud of yourself and talk about it. I've never done that in my life. And I think this podcast has been the first thing in my life that I've been allowing myself to like really just be open about it and be really excited about it. And like, I usually am someone who's like, I'm not like private. I don't know. How do you describe me? I'm not like a private person, but I'm also
No,
not
but
going
you're
to
not
be
like, yeah,
I'm
you're not like
doing
boasting
this,
about all of these things.
I'm doing
yeah,
this.
Totally.
Right. And I think for a long time, I thought anytime you talked about something pertaining to yourself was boasting, was doing it to get attention from people. And I don't want that at all. If like I walk in a room and I was like, it's Casey, like not that really happens, but like if that were, I would literally be like, oh my gosh, don't look at me.
Yeah.
Like, can I just all talk to you individually? I'd rather have a really solid one-on-one, one-on-three conversation. I don't need to be introduced to the whole room, type of thing. And obviously doing this, people have asked me a lot of questions about like the podcast and oh, so like, what's your inspiration? And like this, that, and the other thing. And like, why this? And I am forced to talk about myself. And the other part of that revelation is I never talk about myself. And I don't ever allow myself to just go up to someone and be like, can I just ask you about this in my own personal life and just talk to you about it? I literally will never say a word until someone's like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know, nothing. Like, well, you seem like
I know,
blah, blah, blah.
because
And then
that's
I'm like,
we start every episode and I'm like, how's everyone doing? And I'm mainly talking to you because I'm like, I'm like looking, I'm like, you don't look great.
Please, someone say something,
I-
aka Casey.
and I'm just like, well, like it's like an interview for me. Like, you'll ask me a question, I'll answer the question, but I'm not gonna like expand on something else based off of that.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I like as I think forward. Yes, I want a house. Yes, there's a lot of things that I want in life, but I'm trying to take my mind off of the big things because it's been there for so many, like, I almost want to say years at this point, to like, I want to get to that point. I want to get to that point. Like, I'll officially be an adult when I get to that point. But really, when I do, I just want to be like open and honest about who I am, be very thoughtful about the words that I say to other people, hear people, but also like allow myself to be heard by other people. And hoping that this is a moment for me that I can like really dive into the things that I love and the things that I'm passionate about, and not be afraid / fearful that I'm throwing what I'm doing down your face. And if that's ever been like a conversation I've had with someone before where you're like, yeah, I felt like you talked about yourself the whole time, please tell me, because that's the last thing I ever want to do. So I'm not trying to err on that side. However, I think it's okay to talk about yourself, and it's okay to like tell people what you're up to, and that's okay. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Think about the amount of people that you talk to where they just talk about them.
Yeah.
No, and I don't
know,
mean that
but
in a bad way, but like you're conversing with someone. What else are you
No, I
talking about? You're
know.
either talking about your stuff or their stuff, or someone
I know.
that you know's mutual stuff. Like, why not talk about your own stuff? Especially if it's someone that you're like
well,
close
here's the thing. I think we've been really trained to be so humble, and I'm going to use the word humble just because that I feel like is like what we blanket over a lot of things, to say like you have to be humble and not talk about yourself too much, to be boastful or prideful, to the point where we shrink ourselves to like not even celebrate the small wins in our life. And I think what I've been hearing you say is like, honestly, the older you get, you just need a win where you can take it. And sometimes that is just making a meal. Sometimes that is just going to work. Sometimes that is just in the small mundane. And when you and I maybe I'm not in the stage of like wanting a house like where you're at, Casey, or having a house and wanting the next thing, Meredith, but like I feel like everybody longs for something else that they don't have, or the next thing, like whatever that could be. Or like an engagement. I mean, that could be like mine, an engagement, a marriage, or whatever, like things that like are in the future but are not like right there yet. But I feel like the hardest thing to do, but like such a good lesson, is like what are the wins that I'm doing today? Because I feel like that will put everything in perspective. Kind of like what you're saying. And maybe the win today is saying, I actually, if I can say this, kicked ass today at my job. Like I'm crushing it there.
Yeah.
And that is a win. And that's okay if only you know it and God knows it and your husband knows it. That's okay. Maybe your team, maybe you're not even getting the praise that you maybe want from your team, but like take the wins where you have them, because that will propel you forward. And it can even be the most smallest mundane things. And that's not a boastful thing. That's honestly not a prideful thing. And that's not even you trying to be like humble and be like, woe is me. That's just saying like, I'm going to take this and I know that I'm truly crushing it in this area. And that's okay to say that, because that's not being prideful. And I think that's like a hard thing that we've been, at least for me, been taught growing up, of like, be humble but not too prideful, be this but not too that. Like that gap is so narrow.
Totally.
It seems
It's
like, and
a little
it's
confusing.
stressful when you like don't know how to manage that, if you know what I mean.
100%. I think one other thing to tack on, and I think a lot of people will resonate with this, is not being able to take a compliment for what it is without having to feel like you need to validate how their compliment isn't true. So if someone's like, "Oh, Casey, your hair looks really good today." Oh my gosh. Like I didn't even like do anything.
Because also,
like I honestly,
when you
like
do that, it's almost rude.
I know.
Like if I think about giving someone a compliment and then they're like, "Oh no, you're wrong."
Exactly.
Like, oh,
It's hard because like I'm like teetering the line between I'm not trying to be a pick me girl where I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like this whole thing, like whatever." It's literally coming from that side of like humility where I'm like, please don't think that I tried to do too much to get your attention.
Is it humility or is it humility or is it like how we view ourselves too?
Exactly.
Like
exactly.
I think I would argue it's not humility. I would argue it's like, no, I don't think that about myself. You know what I mean?
Yes.
At least for me. I'm not saying that about you. At least for me, whenever
no,
I feel
agree.
that, like I think it's veiled in humility because that sounds better, but for me it's like, no, I don't think that I like at work or something. If our senior pastor is like because I'm new this summer and like our old worship director was gone for a little bit, and so he would sit with me and be like, "Hey, you are doing a great job leading this team. Like I can tell, blah blah blah." And I on the inside I'm like, "No, but you should see what the planning center looks like. You should see how many like declines I have, blah blah blah." But like that, but also no, because I'm just gonna take it because what would me saying that do right now in this room where it's just me and him, like in that conversation where it's just you and that person, or if there's other people there too, whatever, what would it do? What would it benefit for you to say like, oh my gosh, blah,
exactly.
If anything, it makes them feel like, oh,
I was just gonna say, this is hilarious that we're talking about this right now because today, this will be a little bit till this is released, but as of today, I had a full staff meeting about this, which is just funny that we're talking about
it's
it.
like
I
God's trying to
kid you
talk to you
not.
or something.
I think God's trying to talk to me. But what it boils down to is like there's two types of people: the people who live in the gap and people who live in the gain. That's a lot of like what we've been talking about. And the people who live in the gap seems to be all of us, where we're like, if someone like a supervisor or a parent or someone in authority tells us that we are doing a good job or we're crushing it, we're killing it, we're like, yeah, but like we know there's other areas in our life that we're not crushing it. Like maybe they don't know, but we can't take the compliment because we know we're not actually it's almost the idea of like, okay, I got straight A's, cool, but like I can get A pluses 100%. It's like there's always more to be done to some degree. But there are people out there who hear something or like, I just want to say I'm proud of you. Like, look at all that you've accomplished in the past, and like how to merge the two in it's like if you have too many people who are living in the gap, that's going to be frustrating as heck for eternity because you're never going to think that you're good enough. But also at the same time, if you're too much in the gain, you're going to be just like never thinking that you can be better. So like how to kind of mirror the two and meet in the middle, I think is crucial. And there's Bible verses after Bible verses on this, but I think the cool thing that I've been hearing a lot is like we in general, we humans struggle a lot with confidence and what are we putting our confidence in? And if we're truly just putting our confidence in what we do, people telling us we do a good job, so like affirmations or whatever, the people who are stripped away from those positions that are no longer telling us affirmations, or parents or friends or coworkers or supervisors, if they're not in that position, we're not going to think that we're doing a good job because our confidence is tied to the affirmation. But if we truly know within ourselves that I did the best that I could and that's enough for me, nothing else will matter. But like that is such a hard place. Like I haven't achieved that yet. I'm going to be honest. I haven't achieved that yet, to be in the place where I can know fully I did the best that I can and no other exterior, circumstance is going to affect that. It 100% does. If my boss doesn't think I'm doing a good job,
Yeah, and I think
I'm gonna, spiral. But anyway, yeah. Sorry, what were we gonna
I'm
say?
just gonna go back to what you said, Mare, about like that internal thought, maybe like receiving that compliment, but internally what you think, invalidating that compliment. I think going back to what I said earlier about really just trying to keep my thoughts like pure or whatever the heck you want to think of it, but like complimenting yourself and like being proud of yourself and being thankful for yourself is so important. And I think that's something that we don't do enough of. And I don't remember ever growing up like telling myself, you did a good job today, or ever telling myself like, wow, you're a really hard worker. It was only negative. I don't think I ever learned to say a positive thought to myself until I got older. And I don't even know really when that. I remember, okay, I just had a flashback. I had a mirror, like a body length mirror in my bedroom.
This is a revelation.
This is
Revelation in real
revelations
life.
right now.
Welcome, you're in the middle of it. This is the middle of one.
Real time
I
revelation.
wrote on a mirror, "You're beautiful," because eating disorders, blah blah blah. You guys get it. The whole girly stuff, okay? And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna write that on my mirror, and that was the very first time that I ever was like, oh, okay, I can start off the day like being positive and like have a good attitude about myself before the day starts. And that is like, that has to be a practice.
I have a question. Was it written in lipstick?
I don't, maybe.
Lip smackers to be exact.
Or like eyeliner.
Some sort of it was makeup probably thing? Eyeliner. It was probably eyeliner.
Maybelline. Probably like
how 2010 of me. How 2010
my
older
older sister's eyeliner because I didn't want to ruin mine.
Did you get killed by your sister for doing that?
No, I didn't do that. But I'm thinking that's what if I were you.
Well, I mean, I didn't have any older sisters in the house at that point. They were all grown and gone, so it was only my stuff. If I wanted to steal someone, it was my mom's. But she always had like the lighter color stuff because she's all blue-eyed and stuff. So I had the black stuff that actually shows up, So, So I think that was the first time I like thought about positive self-talk and not being negative to myself the whole time. So pretty much can we just be nice to ourselves? Because then when people are nice to us, we can actually like accept it and not deflect it and like let it absorb into our body.
I want to talk about because I think this is all centered around what I've been learning in the last like 2 years is of going through this like faith walking. I think I've told you guys about this, that our like church there's like a company called Faith Walking, and they have like modules and classes, and our church has like facilitators that puts this on. But they talk about like people are meaning makers. Like anything that anyone does, we want to make a meaning of it. So like if someone says something to you and they're like, if they say, oh, your shirt's really pretty, and then but maybe they like look up and down from that eye action, I'm making the meaning of, oh, they're critiquing my whole outfit and they think my shirt's pretty, but they maybe don't think my pants are cute.
They hate
just
my
from
pants
that
and
one
my
action,
shoes.
I make that meaning. Whereas
That's
honestly,
good.
it could have just been like, oh, maybe there's a spider on the floor that they look down at. Like what I've been trying to do more and more of, and that's a goal that I'm trying to just continue, is like not perceive what other people are thinking. Like I'm responsible for my thoughts. I'm not responsible to think about what they think. Like post worship service, post church service, if someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, thank you so much. That was a beautiful set." And I respond and say, "Oh, thanks." Because I don't want them to perceive me as being like, yeah, thanks. I know.
Like I facilitated
So I'm
it,
just
so
gonna
therefore
say,
you're actually thinking me.
But my job in that moment is to receive that. Oh, thank you. I really love doing this. That's all I have to say. And anything that they perceive from that is their own thoughts. Like I know what my intent was, and I'm not responsible for what they think. It's so hard though, because we want to make meaning, and we I think this is something I've think that I'm pretty intuitive. I think I'm a pretty intuitive person, but that has gotten me in trouble because I am wrong. Like, we're people and we're all wrong. I think that I'm good at perceiving what other people think. I'm not, because I'm a person, and people are people, and people are messy, and who knows why they say what they say,
Yeah.
and who knows why they do what they do, you know?
Well, what is the reason that we do that, genuinely speaking? Because, I mean, I think everyone can relate to that to some degree, but I think the same thing. Like, if someone walks past me and has a bad attitude, I'm like, oh, either they know this about me
Yeah.
or they're thinking
Right,
this,
I
or
must have said
I make the
something.
story in my mind when it's like
Yep.
totally not true.
Whereas maybe they woke up and had a fight with their spouse
Right.
and are having an awful
Right.
off
It's funny
day.
that we just are so kind of self-centered sometimes,
We
and we
are.
just think the world revolves around us a little bit, which is so gross because it obviously isn't. Because the funny thing / sad thing, and I even think about this at my job, and then you can think of this in like a more global concept. If I was removed from my position and somebody was put in my position, my gym would still open, everything would still happen, everything
Totally.
would carry on. Yeah, things would be different, but the world wouldn't
Yeah.
stop. And you can think of that globally, which is also really sad, though. You're gone. Life continues. The
Right.
sun rises, the sun sets, all of that happens. And so, yes, I don't want us to think that our lives are insignificant, but at the same time, imagining that everything is about you can be so shallow and so just sad, because then we miss each other's perspectives on everything, and we're not able
You know what
to
song
really
is going through my head right now?
what
Shine bright like a diamond.
No.
No? Are you
Oh,
sure?
the vapor of it
oh my
all.
gosh, that's so funny.
Stop. The first time I heard that song was in college.
Yes. Yeah, we all heard it the first
was
time
a
together,
pee
Kiara.
and
We were all
dub.
sitting by each
Yeah.
other.
And then, well, okay. And then Meredith was like, "Guys, but you know what this means? Like, we're all
I
vapor,
remember
and we're gonna like
that was
disappear the
actually
next day." I'm like, okay.
Transformational in my life, at least in
I
that moment.
agree.
Because I cared so much, and I was so anxious, and I was so high stress about things. And then hearing that, it was, and that Ecclesiastes 3 that's like, it's meaningless. Like, that can be really depressing if you read it in a depressing
so
context. If you think of it
depressing.
that way.
So
Or it can be
depressing.
like, oh my gosh, literally this doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
like in college, in the college setting where we heard it, okay, this grade doesn't actually matter. Like, this
Which was
relationship
awesome to hear
with this
at
boy
the
that's
time.
fizzling doesn't actually matter.
Mhm.
You know, like, these things are okay.
Hmm.
And then as you get older,
is
things get a little deeper.
kind of
you know, not having a house, it doesn't matter. No one looks at you. If I was walking on the street and someone like walked past me, they don't look at me and they're like, this person probably doesn't have
I
a
mean,
house.
Do you think it comes down to like where we put our like confidence and identity? Because I really do feel like where we put our identity, like whatever we make as our identity, that's like what's going to flourish.
Okay, Kiara, what are you thinking for this next season?
Yeah, I have been thinking a lot about just like what I want for the next couple months, and honestly it's a little deep just because I've been thinking about like who I am and who I want to be, but I feel like right now I'm in a season of figuring out truly what I believe, and I feel like maybe in the first episode, Meredith, like you kind of like talked about that too, of like just honing in on like who you are aside from other people, like aside from family, aside from work, like who you are to your core. But I feel like I'm in the season of trying to figure out like what I believe about like whether it be work-life balance or whether it be like allowing myself to grow, allowing myself to change when I maybe I'm a different person now than I was at 15. Like I just feel like a reoccurring theme is like I feel like I've changed so much since I was in
Since you're
obviously
at
middle and
EMHS.
high school. Since I was at EMHS, shout out. Love you guys. But like I do feel like I am different, and I think that's a good thing. But what happens when you like come back to a conversation with someone who knew you from a different stage of life when you've like completely changed yourself? I just feel like a goal is trying to figure out how to manage those conversations, because that's that's like a hard thing for me because I'm a pretty adaptable person. Like, put me in the group that is like super like high energy and chit chatty, like I can be that. Put me in the group that just wants to sit on the couch and like watch TV and have deep chats. I can be that. Like I feel like I can be adaptable, but what's hard for me is trying to completely like tell people that have known me in like one season of my life, like fill in the gaps of like 15 years of like, this is what I've been up to. That's really hard for me.
Yeah.
And so I don't even know what like how to name that goal, but like being okay with changing and like learning with the Lord, learning who I am right now, because I feel like now in this season of my life I'm more identified in who I am now than I was like years ago. So I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well,
but
I will
that's kind of just
say-
something that I've been like challenged with.
Yeah. I will say of the three of us, I feel like you have, I want to say, blossomed the most.
Flourished.
Not in that you were, not that you were
Seriously.
like not any way like
Blossomed.
your own person, but I think your identity was so rooted in like where you came from and how you were raised that I don't think you ever maybe had time to develop your own like sense of self and your own like personality away from everything else. And so I will say like every single year with you in college, you have, I'm going to say, reimagined yourself, not in the sense of like you've tried to be a completely different person, but there's just a new part of you that you've continued to discover. So like funny, when we first met Kiara in college, I'll just say that we all did at that point. Kiara was a vegetarian.
I forgot about that.
Flexitarian,
I
okay.
literally would
Flexitarian.
never have
I
remembered
know.
that
I
had you
know.
not have said that.
I know.
Me neither.
Oh,
I forgot that I
yes.
was.
It's like,
so...
Kiara, you were a vegetarian your
Oh,
whole life.
no.
And
Like
then
until
she
you got
starts
to
putting
college.
like chicken nuggets on her salad, and I'm
And
like,
then we were like,
vegan,
Kiara, what are you
actually.
doing? And she was like, I don't know. I'm just like trying it out.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I want to see what it's all about.
wow.
And so like I remember
Oh my
I remember
gosh.
like you were always so willing to like try something new just as like, I don't know, like let me see what it's about. And I've always admired that about you because you've always continued to push yourself to do something new. And I would say you've found so much in the past 5 years self-expression of who you want to be and just like what you want to do. And I would say that's come out mostly in like your style, which you've not to say that you had bad style before. I love you, right?
No, it's okay. We can say
your
that.
style was like
Yeah, it wasn't
so
good. Yeah.
like mundane and just like simple and like super so in the trend of what was happening right then that it was just like, yeah, everybody's wearing that type
I
of
remember
thing.
Kiara
that's not-
hated the term basic. Like our friend group at Heston got called basic on
Really?
like Yik Yak. Do you remember Yik Yak? It was
Oh
like
my
those girls are so like
God.
basic,
I do.
and we were all like, the rest of us were
Oh,
like,
no.
yeah, like we're basic, like we didn't
Offended.
really care. But Kiara was. I remember you being like, no, guys, that's like bad, and I think it's because you knew that you kind of were, and you didn't like it. Like that was kind of your style. But I
Probably.
don't know why that is sticking on my head so specifically.
That's so
That
funny.
is so funny.
I just remember like you were all into the chevron patterns. I'm like, we kind of talked about this before. Like anything that
Oh,
was
yeah,
like kind of
I
in right
was.
now,
Yeah.
not in the sense of like you were trying like
Which I was too, but I didn't own it. I raided your closet.
transition
constantly.
lenses. Let's just
Right.
have a moment for those.
Right.
You guys listening, I had these glasses, top of the line, 2014 glasses that did transition to sunglasses, going in the sunlight.
was that 2014?
I will
I don't think
say
that was 2014. That was
That
literally
was
like
not- that was
2006.
like senior year of high
That was
school.
like literally
2014.
2006.
okay. I'm sorry, 2000 and oh gosh, really?
Like
Whenever
the
middle
episode we
school.
already talked
So,
about it. Go back to that episode and listen to it.
2005.
We already talked about it. But
We've
just go back
talked
and
about
listen to
Listen
it.
to our
Yes.
previous.
And
If
we had-
you're just tuning in, we have at least 6 episodes out, 7 episodes out. Go
Yeah.
listen.
So,
Episode 1,
but like
yeah.
in that,
But mind you, I'm blind. That's the anyway. Sorry.
no.
Go,
But I was
go.
just saying, in that, your style is, I think, how you have like, no, I don't want to say finally, but like in a lot of ways, found your self expression, like for the first time, because you haven't like appealed to the masses. And I wouldn't say your style right now is like so out there and like crazy, but like it's so unique to you, and you have so many different avenues and pathways that you go down, and like even your self-expression, like with your hair, and you were always just like a really like, I'm blonde, that's just like who I am, and this, and like I just do my makeup like this, and I only wear like this. But I don't think you really pushed yourself too much until you got, and like when you moved to Charlotte, and I think that was a huge moment for you to like really push yourself and get that self-expression out there, and I'm just really proud of you for that. That's all.
Honestly, well, thank you. That was really cute. I do feel like and I don't know if that's being like the younger sister in me or whatever it is, but I always like tried to like mask things or like put a limit to like how far I could like dream, even in style, even in makeup, even in whatever the case may be. Like I'm like, well, someone else has got that over here, so I can't do that, so I'm gonna just like know the boundaries within like these limits. Like I just know this is the like quote basic thing to do, but I can do that well. Okay, I can wear this Shenandoah Valley Children's Choir t-shirt and denim shorts from JCPenney, buy one get one $1. Shout out.
I think you're thinking of Wet Seal. That was the 1 penny sale. Did you guys ever do that at Wet Seal? Somebody out there is having a major flashback right now. Wet Seal was this cheap store where you could buy something at full price and get something else for a penny. It was it was a sale that never ended, and the clothes were absolutely horrible. I wore a pair of Wet Seal jeans to school, and they ripped before I even got out of the parking lot. So it wasn't good.
Stop.
But that just reminded me of that, and I had to think about that. Anyway, Wet Seal. If you know it, you know it. Anyway,
I'm glad you had that. It does sound like JCPenney also had something similar. However, I would say the quality was like for
way better.
2003.
Way better.
But still, all that to say, I feel like I was put in a box like that. I didn't allow myself to like grow and to dream and to like find out my own identity because I felt like someone else had figured it out for me to some degree. So I feel like that's been a lot of just like even a mindset shift of like, if I don't agree with this thing that I feel like my whole community from growing up believed, what does that mean for me to my core? And that is a hard reality.
A growing, flourishing human.
Growing girl.
We're
just
proud of you.
I agree.
Okay, some things I want to see for the next little bit of life. I want to fix everything. I want to fix everyone's problems, and I think that I know what's best. And I just simply don't because I'm a person. And so when people talk about like boundaries, they think about like, oh, I'm going to set this boundary with this person. No, I need to set boundaries with myself of like, I am not this person's therapist. I am not this person's nutritionist. That is not my role in their life unless they ask me to help hold them accountable to things. I think as a friend or as someone close to someone, it's your job to help guide them, but like lovingly. But I don't think it's necessarily my job to be like, here's what I think you should do with your whole life in this next little bit,
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I want to work on because it's easy for me to like push people to like, oh, I think you should do this because I think I know it's best, and I just don't. That's just prideful. So that's something I'm working on.
Do you feel like that's something you've always done, and you're just
not really
realizing it?
I don't.
Or this is
maybe.
I think something that I've learned about accountability recently is that you can't be somebody's accountability partner if they don't want you to be, and you can't force yourself on them even though you know they need accountability. It's like people who are like, dealing with some sort of addiction. They can't get help unless they want help. It's like, I don't know if you guys have watched The Office. Kira, I know you do. But there's an episode where Meredith.
I was literally just tonight. Yeah,
not you,
was.
Meredith.
Not
different Meredith.
Redhead Meredith.
She she
My
drinks
role
a ton,
model.
and Michael's like, "Hey, we're gonna check you in," and he's literally dragging her into this
He's like chasing her
rehabilitation
around.
center, and he goes, "I like to check in. I'd like to check someone in," and it's like,
no, he said,
literally
I want to
not.
make a deposit.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
That's
It's like,
right. That's right.
Literally, that's not how that works. And so I think sometimes with accountability, like we think, well, they brought it up to me once, so therefore I have full permissions to like help you or say something. But maybe they didn't bring it up again, and sometimes it is people's responsibility to take care of themselves as much as, Mary, your heart is for people and how much you want to help people and make sure that they're the best versions of themselves. Sometimes it's like other people have to come up with the realization that I have to want help first.
Totally.
And if I want other people to help me, I need to be consistent about reaching out to them, because it's not accountability if you are the person who's reminding them every day. That you're just there as like a helper. You're just there to hold their hand. And this is really just a message for anybody who's like, no, I'm their accountability partner. Like, I need to do it. It's like, no, did you hear what you just said? You don't need to do it, because it's not for you. It's for them. They need to be the ones who are, really pushing themselves to get better, and then they can, utilize you, and you can be helpful in that sense. But unless they want it completely, that's really hard to just put all of that on yourself and then blame yourself when things aren't going well, because it's not on you and it's not your fault. A podcast that I listen to, it's called The Basement with Tim Ross. It's literally the best ever, so please go listen to it. He always talks
Better
about
than
this
it's been
idea.
forever.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah.
She's like, please.
Sorry,
Listen,
it's really good. But he talks about the idea of like submitting something to someone. Like when I like someone asked me for like my opinion, instead of me being like, I think this is what you should do and this is going to be the best thing for you. People don't always want that. Like, just submit like, hey, honestly, I think what I want to submit to you is the best thing that you can do for yourself is this. But again, that's just my submission. Whether or not you take my submission and run with it, that's on you. But I'm also not pouring all of myself onto you so that now you feel like you have to do it, or if you do it a different way, it's wrong or whatever. But
That's
like,
good,
this is my submission. I want you to take it. I want you to think about it. I want you to ponder it, and maybe something can come out of it. But we can't. I mean, I wish, and I'm sure God feels this way about us. Like, I just want to like just do the right thing. Just be good. Just do what you need to do. And then we just don't, because we're just the way we are. And so I'm sure that's really frustrating for God, and I know it's frustrating for us too. So just like, hey, this is what I want. This is what I submit. And this is what I think you should do. And then my hands are off, and I've done everything that I can. But at the end of the day, it's you.
I love that.
It's you.
I think that's good, because I feel like I'm the same. Like, I a lot of the times want to like fix a situation that feels to me is in control, but maybe it's truly not, or like it's not like something I can accomplish in like a day's, a week's, a month's time, whatever it may be. But to really like, okay, like maybe if this isn't like the way that I would handle this situation, like maybe it's less about fixing, but it's more like releasing, like this is something I'm going to have to like let go, that's imperfect, and that's okay. In the moment, I feel like that's like really hard. That's something like I'm learning, and maybe that's a goal for me too, because I feel that in the same way of like you, to some degree, I feel like you kind of think that everyone's like thinking exactly how you would do the situation, and when they do it the exact opposite, you're like, there's no way you think that is right, or there's no way like you would actually do it like that. But like to them that's their norm, and to you that's their norm, and they could be polar opposite sides of the spectrum. But to release, and to some degree of like, we both don't have it figured out, and that's okay. I would do it this way, you would do it, I would do it lane A, you would do it lane B. That's all right, to kind of be like okay in the release process of of letting go of like the grip that you like to have on things. Like I think that's something that I
Yeah.
need to learn too, because I tend to hold really tightly to two things. And I'm like, I just know that my way is probably not the best way. It's the best way for me, but it might not be the best way for someone else, and that's a hard lesson to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we've been here for
3
and 2.5 hours.
It's just good stuff.
It's just
man.
good stuff.
I think
It's
if
really
anything,
good stuff.
we just needed to vocalize these things to each other
Yeah.
because you guys understand my revelations better than anybody understands my
Totally.
revelations because A, you know what it means. B, you know how to practically speak to me to be like, hey, chill, or be like, no, you're like, this is right, or like, C, like, shut up.
Yeah.
So
Same. Retweet.
I'm really thankful for
Re-X.
really thankful. Yeah, re-X. You mean Twitter's
Is that
dead.
what they say
Ew.
now?
I don't
Is
know.
it-
I
do
was
they
asking
retweet
Bryce
it?
because
I've
he's on
not-
he's
I've
on
not
Twitter
used it.
religiously. He's on Twitter religiously. I'm like, so what do
Oh
you say?
my.
Are you gonna
Red
X?
flag.
Are you gonna?
Yeah.
No. He doesn't ever tweet. He only is on there purely for sports. I'm like,
Oh, I
what's the
hate that.
point?
I hate that even more.
I don't know. But anyway,
But I thought because it's the end, we have to do a topic. Okay.
Have to.
I'm going to give you two choices. I'm
We
going to give you two
must.
choices. One of them is one that Kiara actually brought to us maybe 2 months ago
Ooh.
that we've never talked about. So I
Oh.
thought maybe we could do that one.
Okay.
exciting.
And then another one is just one that I thought would be kind of funny. Okay, so this Kiara mentioned this to us a couple months ago. What is one thing that I do that would make my Mennonite ancestors roll in their grave?
Oh,
And then the
no.
other topic, which I feel like we're going to pick this one, but I'll give you the other topic. If there would be a zombie apocalypse and one of us would turn into the zombie, are we killing the zombie? Are we going to let that zombie eat us?
yeah, duh. And the first zombie would be Kiara, and Kiara would be dead. That's the answer.
Really? Are you
She just
joking?
threw her hands.
I threw my hands in the air because really,
That's so funny.
I really love the first question. I almost feel like we could make that into a full-fledged like.
I kind of do
thing.
too.
So let's put a pin in that because I absolutely love that.
Okay. We'll come
I
back
think
to
if the
that.
zombies were coming, I think I would die. I think of the recent.
No, I mean like let's say I turn into a zombie
Oh.
and I'm going to eat you.
Oh,
Are you killing me?
I'd kill you.
Are you
I'd
letting
kill
me
you
eat
so
you?
hard, Mare.
Casey, you're the biggest
Man, I'm
pacifist
killing
that I
you.
know.
I know, but like, I gotta protect my heart
I don't
from you eating it.
care.
You know what I mean?
I think I'd try
Yeah,
to kill
zombies don't
you.
matter. Honestly, it's
Yeah,
okay.
I've watched like The Last of Us, and it's like
Oh,
obviously
yeah.
she
If
loves
I'm a
that
clicker-
little boy, and they like
Stop.
yes,
Stop.
and they form that relationship, and they still have to shoot him at the end. Like that sucked. That sucked, and like
But they're
life
alive.
already is really really hard, but you're alive. And I mean, when you're in survival mode, you're in survival mode. So
true.
unfortunately, I mean, it's not like I like take pleasure in blowing your head off, but
Totally.
you got to do what you got to do.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, I can respect that.
I think I would be the same. I would try to kill you, but I probably wouldn't succeed, and then you'd kill me,
Right.
and then
Well,
I'd be a
and
zombie.
it's
so.
the motive. Like, would you not physically be able to, but would you want to? Yeah. Because I
I'd
don't think that
try.
I actually could, but I probably would also try.
I
Yeah.
would try,
Mm.
but it would be I would have to like
Well-
be blindfolded because I think if I were to kill you
Yeah.
as mayor, that obviously could never do that. But you as someone
Never.
who's trying to like
Ew,
wipe
that
out a
gave
population,
That made my stomach hurt thinking about that.
I know, and I would never do that. Okay,
I don't like this topic.
I don't-
Who chose
You
this?
chose that.
I chose it, topic.
I'm just saying, you as someone who's not actually mayor and like someone who's like
Yeah.
someone's taken over
Yeah.
your body.
Like you have like
Totally.
these nasty veins all over you, and you look gross
Yeah.
and stuff. Like that's not Mare.
Yeah.
That's not Mare.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mare's pretty.
Then I would. But wait, what would you do?
Yeah.
I was waiting to see what you guys would say, and I was going to copy your answers.
No.
So
Oh
I'm
my
killing.
gosh.
No. What would you do?
I-
You probably wouldn't
I
kill
don't
us.
know. I think I would run and hide.
I'm gonna come sniff you out. I'm a zombie. I'm gonna smell you.
I think
I'm
I
gonna come
would,
get ya.
or I'd try to like trap you so that you're just like stuck somewhere, and maybe you'd like die of starvation. So I didn't have to
Thanks
kill
a
you.
lot. So we die anywais?
Yeah, but you're a
So
zombie.
you're gonna
it
torture
doesn't
us
matter.
to death? You're gonna
Shut
torture
up.
us?
Okay, it's been
Thanks.
forever.
That's
Thanks for
really
listening to our
sweet.
episode,
Stop,
guys.
So
Well, I
Meredith
mean,
would
here's the thing. Let's just hope the
starve
zombie
us.
apocalypse never happens, so that
Never,
we
yeah.
never have to put ourselves in this situation.
Amen.
That would be the best. But if it does, bang bang. Oh, we have to say bye.
Oh yeah.
See you guys
Thanks for
next week on the It's Forever
Oh,
podcast.
I just want to add though, like, hey guys, if you want to like write reviews
Please.
and rate, that would be really cool.
Oh my gosh,
and
please
if you
do
like want to
that.
share, like, we'd really appreciate it. It'd be really cool. A part of us get to like live out our dream of like just talking to each other every week, and like this is super fun for us, and we love making these episodes. So if you like listening, just share us, because I'm being bold in who I am, and I'm being proud of myself.
Did you know that on a reel or on something on Instagram, if you hit share and like copy link, Instagram thinks that you're sharing it with a lot of people, and so that boosts it on like the algorithm. But you don't actually have to share
really?
it with anyone. So if you're someone who's like, I'm not going to share something on my story, like that feels cringy,
I feel like
you
you
could
saw a
literally
reel of
just
that
click.
on Instagram.
I totally did.
I didn't
so
know
I
that.
Yeah, so go to our reels. If you see a reel, just hit copy link, and
Not
that would
Kiara
be
going to our
awesome.
reels right now and doing
and
it.
doing it to all of them.
Stop, please. I'm doing it
Yeah,
right
but
now.
anyway, follow us, rate,
Yeah.
subscribe.
We genuinely love doing this, so we
we-
love having
yeah.
listeners that tune in, and
Mhm.
we're so thankful.
And we love you guys. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, thanks
Oh my
for
gosh.
being
Listen next week.
Bye, guys.
here. Okay,
Bye.
bye.